demo class, right? And probably I'll just brief about myself. Then we will talk about your introduction and how we want to proceed and what things we'll be taking up as part of this training. So my name is Shubham. I'm based out of India, Hyderabad, and I've been working close to 13 years into different kinds of roles, where mostly of the past 6 to 7 years are entirely towards program management as well as inclusive of agile methodologies and how we are implementing them. I have a good experience with the multiple big insurance companies, right, where I have managed their IT projects. To name a few are like Equitable, then you can talk about CNA and a few others, right? United Health Group, that is a medical thing, right? This thing. So that's all about me. And I did my PMP, I believe, in 2015. Since then, I keep coming back because it gave me a lot of foundation understanding of how the things are done, the way they are managed, and what is better approach towards different kinds of thing. Recently, I spoke with Subbu and we had this opportunity, and I was like eager, right, to share. And the reason why I want to go ahead with this training is more about you learn when you teach, right? And that brings in more of a experience, and probably with the experience that the folks that will join, that will give me a more understanding of things. Okay, so that's all about me. Nancy, a bit of brief about your work balance and how do you want things to go ahead, or what do you expect from this?
All right. So, well, I also did insurance before. I used to have my license over here in the state, but I
Yeah,
stopped doing that like almost 13 years ago. I've
right.
done different stuff. Right now, I work with the federal government over here, and I'm trying to get into a profession that better fit my personality. And I need something. I want a remote job because I have three babies. I
Oh,
want
nice.
something,
That's
yeah. So I want something that fit my person. And I believe project management is what it is. So
great.
I don't really know anything about it. So I want to learn this and get a job like ASAP.
Great. So, Nancy, one thing good that if you say you don't know anything about it, trust me, this is one of a good start, right? Many of the times when we have interacted with people, right, I have trained a couple of few, and then people have lots of misconceptions about understanding what PMP is all about, right? They look at from just a set of methodologies which will define how they want to go ahead about it. But sometimes what they don't understand is how do you want to do it and why is it done that way. So we'll get started on this, and this is pretty basic, right? With a demo class, right? Yesterday only I got in connect with Subbu. He told me that we want to go ahead with this thing. So I just put down some thoughts around it. But in case you think that okay, these has to be more matured and the way we progress, we will keep on adding, right? So I am open to suggestions. Stop me any of the time when you think that I'm not making much sense about it and how we should be going. Good?
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
So fair. So PMP is Project Management Professional Certification. The authorizing authority that is there is PMI org, that is Project Management Institute. I believe it's based out of Philadelphia, and that's how the certifications happen. It's one of the most sought after certifications in today's world. Everybody is looking for project management professionals, and the way we have been working around, it's more about understanding why the things were done. So let's get started on this. I hope my screen is shared and you are able to view that. Guys, can someone confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, it's visible. I could see.
All right, great, great. Sorry, this is the first time I'm on this tool, right? Go to meeting training. So bear with me. We'll get it sorted very quickly. All right. So when we talk about PMP and being this demo class, right, we will today talk about just four key items, right? What is PMP? Why is it needed? how to prepare for it, and myths versus facts about PMP. So when we say PMP, one thing which I like you to do, Nancy, if you can spare some time, go to pmi.org. That is the official site. It will give you all the high level understanding and how the things have been formulated, what are the different requirements. I've gathered some of the information from there. I'll talk about it today. I'll try to explain more about it. Now, PMP stands for Project Management Professional. This is awarded by the PMI. Very sought after, and I have seen, right, when I did it, it gives you a lot of value when you're talking to your customers and when they understand, okay, this person is certified in PMP, and he is able to understand what things are there, what are the different items that have to be looked about for a project. And so if I have to ask you this thing, right, what do you think is project management?
Hmm. Project management is a way to manage a project, to drive it where it should go.
Okay. Okay. So drive it. So can you quickly come up with a life cycle for a project? Can you give me an idea? Whatever comes to your mind when you say a project drive a cycle. So we'll have a start point, we'll have a destination, a source where we want to reach. And in between, right? It's just like a journey. So you have a start, you have an end, and things that might happen in between.
So you said I should give you an example?
Yeah, give me any example, and it does not have to be specifically from insurance domain or project management into IT. You can bring
Well,
out
I would say
anything that
building
is
a
there.
house.
Yeah, building a house. Okay.
So you need to lay the foundation,
Hmm.
and depending on what type of house you're building, is it like a bungalow? Is it like a duplex? Is it like an apartment? So depending on what type of houses you're building, that determines the foundation you're laying down and how to begin it. And
Right.
after foundation, then you lay the blocks, like I say, mold it to what kind of house you want to build. And when
Hmm.
you're done, you lay down different aspects of the apartment. If it's an apartment, is it two-bedroom apartment? Is it three? Is it one bedroom? Or
Okay.
is it like a regular house that has a boys' quarter or visitors extension or guest house? And what do you need in the house? You need a bathroom.
Okay.
Do they have pipes? Because I've heard someone that tried to build his own house and he forgot about the bathroom part. So
that that would be fun.
yeah, so you lay down the bathroom. Where is the switch? Some people have their switch outside by the side of the house. Some people have it in their garage. Some have it in the basement. So stuff like that.
Correct.
The layout.
Very
And when you,
nice.
I'm sorry.
So one, yeah. Okay. So when you mentioned about this, right, it's all about foundation, the layout, how you want to do, what things that you need, right? And building a house is itself in a brilliant project and a great example that you brought in. So let's talk on the same lines, right? When you plan to build a house, right, first thing that you need is whether you are building it for yourself or you are building it for somebody else, right? That would be our basic initiation phase. As in a project, we want to initiate that, okay, we are going to build a house. There's a person who has certain requirements. We talk about it. We understand, okay, you want this house to be built. Which location are you building in it? Is it countryside that you want to have it built, or it's a duplex that you want to build in a given location? What are the different aspects to it? Who will be my key stakeholders, right? And if I have to build for, say, Nancy, I'll have to go back to Nancy and ask Nancy, what exactly are your requirements? What exactly is the end result that you are hoping to get? Correct? So when we talk about these things on a given situation, what this becomes, this is my project initiation. This is the first phase for any project to get started, where we initiate a discussion of what we need, why we need that, and how we want to proceed about it. We are good till now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this was my initiation. Once you have initiated, okay, that there are two parties involved, we have to build the house. These are the high level requirements. Then we start planning. When we start planning, we have to think about, okay, what is my location? What are the people involved? How many rooms do we need? How many bathrooms do we need? Are there sufficient guest rooms available? What will be the layout? What will be the landscaping that is required around the house if it's a villa or like a bungalow that we are trying to build? How many cars parking do you need? Right? All these nitties and gritties that have to be taken care of, these have to be understood at any given point. Now, this, when we are talking about this thing, laying out the plan and everything, that becomes my planning phase. So, first thing is initiation. Second is planning, where we start discussing on this. Then you come to the third phase, which is executing. When we say executing, we are looking into, we start building, we start implementing our plan. We start bringing out things, we get start with blocks, layout, everything required approvals. And these will be the different things that have to be managed, correct? Which is my
Correct.
execution. I have started building my house. While I am building my house, there has to be inspection. There has to be a checkpoint, right? That this was done on time, this is done as expected, everything. So execution is simultaneously run with a phase called monitoring and controlling, where you monitor how the work is going. You control it. You control, okay, this is happening. Okay, this room is not exactly how I expect it to be. You're not looking in the exact layout that we were talking about. What is the kind of flooring we wanted? Different nets and gritties, right? Everything will be there. Now that is a phase of monitoring and controlling. And then the best phase comes, that is closure phase, right? When the house that I have built, based on your requirements, I hand it over to you. I said, Nancy, this is the house that you wanted. These were your requirements. This is how we have worked upon. This is when I'm giving it to you. It's ready to be used, right? You can start living. The house is ready. All the payments or all the financial things have to be taken care of. And then I bring this project towards a closure. My project gets a closure. So these are the basic 5 phases that we'll be working on. Building a house, start with the initiation phase where the discussion starts. Then you start about planning, where the requirements and the step-by-step method, which thing will be done when, who will be doing these things, who will be the required person, who are the different stakeholders, everything. We talk about that as part of my planning. Once that is done, I start working on the executing. I start adding details about, I start building the house. I start going to the land, digging up, putting in foundations, adding blocks, look at everything gets part of executing. Monitoring and controlling is a phase that runs simultaneously to it, and where we start getting in information, right? Okay, this is done, this is pending. Where are we on the project? Are we meeting our timelines? Are we meeting our budget lines? How the things are going. So that is everything there on monitoring and control. Post that, once every of the required items, requirements that were planned are completed successfully, we come towards our project closure. So that's a simple project life cycle, which happens everywhere, be it building a house, building a software, building even a spaceship. Everything follows this 5 phases. Right now, when we say look at pmi.org, this is the website that I have asked you to visit whenever you get the chance. It says
Okay.
career opportunities. Knocks as the need for project talent continues to grow. Research indicates that employers will need to fill nearly 2.2 million new project-oriented roles each year through 2027. This means that skilled project managers will be in high demand. Whenever, wherever you are in your career, the globally recognized PMP certifications tells employers, peers, and the world you know what you are doing in the project management. So you know how these 5 phases have to be managed. What are the things that have to be taken care of each and every of the phase? Even if project manager isn't part of your title, the PMP applies to anyone who helps bring a project to completion. Just like a CPA validates expertise to accountants, the PMP recognizes your ability to manage projects and the hard work you have done so far. So it's all about bringing and getting into that mindset. So when I started preparing for my PMP, and it was very nice, right? So the organization that I was there, and this is almost like 2015, right? 5 years back thing. When I approached them that, okay, I want to go for this training and everything, they said, no, it's basically it's only for the senior leadership, right? Where we are doing this kind of a training. And your designation, you are just like a consultant for us. For now, we are not looking at this. And I was like, I was, I'm doing these kinds of work. I know what I'm doing. I want to get certified. Why are you not getting measures? I discussed I had to get an exceptional approval, Nancy, right, from the directors of my project and everybody that I want to attend this training internal to the organization. Once I got certified, the best change that came was I was a facilitator and a trainer in those trainings. So I was with my designation, which they 2 months back they were telling me that, boss, you are not ready for this training. They called me as a trainer for that training, and I was training senior leadership there. So that is the kind
Wow.
of change that happens once you get a credited certificate, right? Such as PMP, right? When people understand this thing. So this is one of the best parts which I loved about PMP getting through. Okay. Any questions so far, Nancy? Nancy, any questions so far?
Oh, I understand so far. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. Now let's talk about why PMP, right? So everywhere, and you would have definitely seen there are lots of things that happen around us, right? And everything that we do is a project. Even sending your kids to school is a project, right? You have to get up at a certain time. You have to start preparing their lunch boxes, everything. You have to wake them up. You have to make them get ready, drive them to the school, drop them at school, come back after again at a certain time. You have to go pick them up. Every day, every activity that we are doing is project. To do it successfully, to understand how it's done, the better way to manage, that is all about PMP. There was a recent study which I was reading through. So almost 90, can you give me a number, right? Just a percentage that of all the projects that are being taken around the world, right? Projects which are managed by senior management and everything, how many projects succeed? How many projects are successful? Just pick a number, whichever comes to your mind.
How many are successful?
Yes, how many projects are successful? So when I say successful, they are exactly implemented the way they were planned.
I would say 60.
You see? Now you will be surprised on this. Almost 95% of the projects fail after their original requirement.
Wow.
Either those projects shoot up on the budget that was assigned to it, or these projects move out on the timelines that were decided, or the requirements change in between. Lots of integrities around it, right? And that's how the world is functioning. We plan and when we plan, and you must have seen this, right? Many of the times when we plan, we put in a contingency plan because we know what we are planning might fail at a point. Why we say might fail? Because we have learned it from our experiences. That okay, even if my budget for this project is 1 million that I need to finish off this project, what I will might be demanding is like 1.2 million. I'll keep that 20% aside. If everything goes good, that is my saving. But if it's not, then I should have that much buffer in hand to manage it. If on a paper, on my plan, I say that my project can be completed within 6 months of time frame, I will still put it like 7 to 8 months of time frame because I need that kind of a management, right? And this is what happens, right? 90-95% of the projects miss on any one of these items. Either they miss on the timelines, either they miss on the budget line, or they miss on the requirement chain, the quality that was expected, and different things, right? The scope of the project changes. So that's why the PMP is needed, right? There are multiple things that you will talk about. There are so many people who have been talking about agile. I myself am agile certified. I look at it. There are people who will say that, okay, agile is entirely different, project management is entirely different. It's not the case. Project management is your basic foundation of understanding what is the best way to execute it. Agile is a way of delivering that thing how you want to do it. But project management gives you the basic. If you want everything right, if your everything is in place, you should follow this. This is the best way to achieve your success. How we want to do it, when we want to do it, all has to be understood. Okay, so PMI all says the reason project management professionals is more than 200 countries have earned and maintained their PMP certification. It delivers real value in the form of professional credibility, deep knowledge, and increased earning potential. And those benefits have staying power. It is not only a matter of higher potential salaries across the arc of career. The PMP is about getting credit for what you already know and honing your skills. It's about pushing yourself to X and then being recognized for the excellence that you are bringing in. So it's like somebody has already given you a roadmap that, okay, you follow all these things perfectly and you are going to be successful. Makes it easy. But if PMP getting certified in PMP is easy, we'll talk about it. Okay.
Mm.
All right. Moving next, let's look at how to get credited. Okay, so basically what it means is that there are two criteria that makes you eligible for PMP, writing that PMP certification. One is either you have a 4-year degree with 36 months of leading projects experience and 35 hours of project management education. PDUs that will be there are needed. So once you have these three things, you are eligible for writing PMP, or you have a high school diploma or associate degree, 60 months leading project, and 35 hours of PDUs, right? So when we will be talking about these training, there will be different trainings from where you will get the PDUs, that's 35 PDUs, which are necessary for you to write the exam. And what we will be doing is we might be taking you through different levels and understanding how that project is, what things we have to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So these were the three important things which we wanted to talk about, right? Now let's come to myths and facts. When I say myths and facts, there are lots of it, right? So I'll name a few and then you let me know what are your thoughts around, right? Which things you believe have to be changed, or what are the things that you have heard about PMP? People say PMP is only theory, right? It's
Like
only
what?
just some that are, they say it's only theoretical, right? And it's not feasible in the practical world, which is wrong, right? PMP gives you the basic foundation of how it has to be done, but every project, every team, every individual, there are multiple different factors. And as a smart project manager, you always have to tweak the plan in the way that you are able to best utilize your resources to deliver, right? That's first. Another thing which I have heard a lot of time, once you are PMP certified, you can get into any line of work, right? No. What PMP tells you that, okay, if you have a domain expertise on one thing or you have a working style with something else, focus on that, right? Even if I'm into IT entirely, right? We talked about building a house, a home for us, which was good to talk, but does that give me an experience that is needed as a IT project manager to implement and get a house built? No, it won't be, right? So you have to have an understanding of the domain or the work that you want to get into, how it's being managed, what things are being done around it. So that helps. You will many times hear people saying PMP is damn tough. You have to memorize a lot of things. You have to cram up a lot of things. You should know everything, right? The moment it's there, it is a very well approached, Nancy, that you have to understand. And once you understand the connection, the interlinks between different phases, different knowledge areas, different tools, techniques that we will be talking about as part of the training. Once you understand that correctly, you don't have to memorize anything, right? It gives you the complete confidence, because anything that you will memorize, the moment we talk about, right, if there's a situation in front of us, if we have memorized a way to act towards it, we might follow the same way. But with even a small deviation, we might fail at that point. But if you have understood how that thing should be working, what are the best ways to tackle that situation, even a minor or major deviations will help you to manage it perfectly, right? And that is all about PMP. So it's more about understanding what PMP says, what are the different things that it talks about, and then you have to talk about anything, any of the situation that we want to implement it. Any other myth or fact that you have heard about, or any other questions that you have related to PMP in your mind?
Um, so like what you brought up now about because you're a project manager, that don't mean if they want to build a house, you know about it.
Yeah.
So the question I have is not a myth or fact. What area do you think is easy when you want to dive into PMP?
Okay.
You understand?
Uh, so,
Okay.
right. So you're asking which area is easy, or am I understanding the
Yeah.
question correctly?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it entirely depends on individual's skill. And I think one thing which we normally do in any of the projects, which is very commonly used, right? So that is monitoring and controlling phase, right? Where you have a team that is working on it and you just have to follow with them, understanding how the things have been going, right? So we talked about 5 phases, right? Initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closure. Now, if I have to divide the percentage of effort that I spent on this, it's easy, right? Your planning initiation phase takes 10% of your total efforts for the project. Planning phase normally takes 20%, right? Then executing is 30%. Monitoring and controlling takes close to 25%. Closure is finally again down to even 15%, the remainder. So this is how the project works, right? Most of my budget, time, scope, and the work that will be there will be consumed between execution and monitoring and controlling. But your project success entirely depends on how you have initiated your project and how brilliantly your planning has been done. Does
Okay.
that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Nancy? Any other thought on your mind?
So when it comes to PMP, when I look at the positions they have, there's a lot of IT position, IT project manager position. So
Yes.
is that where the job is more?
See, it's all about once you are skilled on something, right? There are opportunities everywhere available, right? And yes, lots of people, when they need, because after a designation, right, after a phase in your life, you get into a manager's role, and what everybody is looking for, they are looking for a certified professional, right? Because it's very tough to understand a person's skill set, right? Whether he will be great about managing a project based on just a couple of rounds of interview or discussion, right? A person can come up with great answers in an interview, but in reality, when he has to execute up a project for say 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years duration, he might fail miserably. So PMP gives one thing for the recruiter, a confidence that okay, the person understands how the thing have to be managed, what things are there, and he is connected with a set of professionals, right? Because you become a part of PMI group, you get this membership. That's your connect. If there's something, he knows how these people will be able to help. So yes, there are lots of project management openings, and PMP, being PMP certified, definitely adds value. So being PMP certified gets you first 1 or 2 rounds, getting your resume shortlisted for that position pretty easy, right? After that, yes, you get into discussion round, you look at the domain they are talking about, what exactly are their requirements. And trust me, from a recruiter's perspective, when I publish some of my job postings outside, it becomes very tough when you have to tell people that, okay, what exactly you want, right? You don't want the job description to be like 3 or 4 pages of information. You want it to be as crisp as possible, but will that encompass all the information that we are looking for? No, it won't. So that kind of things will be there. But with PMP, and if there's a IT project management, different things, right? We have lots of designation that are coming on, because we now in organization, like we used to have project leads, even those are getting a designation of a project manager. Even if you are applying for project lead and you have a PMP certification, it's a high added value, right? People, I have seen recently, there are many of the openings which are coming and people say PMP certified preferable. So that's the difference that it brings.
Okay, thank you. So another quick question, right? So
Yeah.
I know you said something towards it, but I wasn't so clear. So do you help with PDU?
Yes, PDUs is something that this team will be working on, right? This is a demo class Subbu will be working on, and yes, you have to be a registered educational partner for PMI, and this will be taken care by Subbu. So once you are done with training, probably you will have your PDUs in hand. Any of the training institutes will be handing over the PDUs to you.
So how long do you think this training is gonna be?
Okay, so if I look at training, I'll can, based on your availability and my time, right? We can finish off between 2 to 3 weeks of time. But normally what I've seen is that PMP's preparation, it takes close to 1 to 2 months of effort. And then I understand that you have kids at home, busy schedule. You can't skip that. Yeah, so we'll have to work more about it, right? I'll give you my short ways of learning, figuring out how the things are there, very tips and tricks that I have created while I was preparing and when I have been sharing that knowledge with people. Those things I'll make it available for you. So then I think we can wrap up our training between say 2 to 3 weeks of time frame, and then we can keep connecting every probably alternate days or as needed to discuss on how the things are going, what things you need help on, and how should we proceed around it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
So and
Okay.
okay. Right. Anything else on your mind, Nancy?
I'm okay for now.
All right. So when now I'll just quickly go to a slide. I'll show you what are the different things, right, that we'll be talking about when we will be preparing for our PMP. So first is 5 process groups, which we already talked about the phases that we are talking about, which is initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closure, right? So the PMP, entire PMP is based on 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, right? So it talks about the 5 process groups. We have already talked about the different phases of a project. Then every of these phases have different knowledge areas that have to be worked upon. One is like project integration management, scope management, schedule management, cost, quality, resource, communication, project risk, project procurement, and stakeholder. These are the 10 knowledge areas that will be divided among the top mentioned 5 process groups, right? And then we will understand that, okay, as part of initiation phase, we should be working on this thing. As part of execution phase, these will be my knowledge areas that we'll be working on. And every of the knowledge area has 4 items. One is process about reaching that output that we are looking for. For every process, there has to be some input, right? So from where are we getting that kind of information that will be available for us as an input? Tools. What are the different tools we'll be looking at in a given process under a knowledge area to reach our desired output? Okay, so that's the way it will be drafted, and these will be the 3 main items that we'll be talking about our entire sessions. And this is what if once you get a hold on these things, you are perfectly set to work about anything else in the work, right? Everything on a project is in your hand. You know which document, which phase, which knowledge area you have to go to if there's an issue in another knowledge area. What are the interdependencies among them, which provides input to the other phase, all this. So this will be covered under our entire training. This is a nutshell, right? A very crisp what we'll be talking about once we get started onto our training phase.
Okay.
Okay,
That sounds
right.
interesting.
Right. And okay, one thing which you will find mostly, right, when you write a PMP's exam, you go for that certification. I think it's a 4 hours for continuous sitting, uh, coming up with 200 questions, and out of those 200 questions, 25 questions randomly are things which will not be measured, right, which will not be marked as correct answer, wrong answer, and everything. Is there a strict pass percentage? No, there's not. Everything that you do, right, based on the answer that you have given, your performance will be measured onto the 5 process groups, and which will tell you like you are good at it, you are mediocre at it, you perform poorly, and the result of these 5 process groups, right, will be collated in a manner which will let us know that okay, you have cleared your PMP exam.
Okay.
Okay? The result will be shown at the same time. We have to go to a prometric center. Once you are done with exam, it will come up. So I'll tell you this thing, right? When I went and I was preparing for my PMP, I used to do lots of mock-up tests and everything. And this 200 set of questions, I used to finish off in what, 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes of time. My score normally used to range between 60% was I think one of the lowest score that I would have got, and then 75%, and majority it was between 65 to 70. Then sometimes great occasions I used to get like 80% score also. So that's how I worked over it, right? And I was thinking, why do they need to give a 4 hours time frame to write these 200 questions? I'm finishing them off in like 1 hour and 30 minutes kind of thing. I was like super confident, right? The day I went into the Prometric Center to write the real exam, you won't believe my first 1 hour was consumed by just 30 questions. And
Hmm.
at that rate, I was like, seriously, if I'm doing 30 questions in 1 hour, I cannot even attempt all the 200 questions given that uh, 4 hours of time that I'll have in my hand. But then you have to practice about how will be your planning, your time management, and everything while writing an exam also. So that also probably will talk. Once we are clear with all the basic understandings of PMP, process groups, knowledge areas, input, outputs, and tools. Once this part is done, we will talk about how to tackle exam, how to go about it, what are the best ways to manage it, how you should be doing your time management, and different things. So if we go ahead with it, we'll be talking about everything that will be required for you to successfully clear off your PMP exam.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So that's all from my side. I think I'll not just add too much of information today. We'll talk more about it as we proceed. I think, Subbu, are you there on the call? Okay.
Did he drop off?
I'm not sure. He shouldn't. He was the organizer. He shouldn't drop off. Okay, I'll just ask him. Okay, I'll just call him, Nancy. Right? Hold on for a minute. I'll call him directly.
Okay.
Okay, Nancy, I just spoke with him. He just has some other things to take care of, so he said he'll reach out to you back and will take a
Okay.
feedback. If there's anything, you can directly reach out to me. I'm available on LinkedIn also. So if you want, we can definitely be of help for anything that's related to project management or agile. Anything you need a help, you want to discuss anything, please feel to reach out.
Okay, so this is your name on
Okay?
LinkedIn, right? Okay.
Okay. I'll send you my proper this thing.